All this month, we've been celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. As an Asian American born in the Philippines, I'm proud to tell the stories of how Asian Americans are contributing to Central Ohio. According to the U.S. Census, the Asian community is one of the fastest growing minority groups across the country. And here in the Buckeye State, there are more than 326,000 Asian Americans.
So this is from Swan Lake, one more time.
For Edward Liang, he's living his dream job.
I am the first and only Chinese American artistic director in the United States. Développé up.
This is his 9th season with Ballet Met.
And go.
He says he and his husband have made Columbus home, but it wasn't until recently when he felt he didn't belong.
This was the first time that I have felt where I have been othered. And it was very shocking. I forgot for a long time that I was different.
Liang tells me what he went through still haunts him today. It happened as he was getting into his car in front of his home in German Village.
This pickup truck slowed down, and I knew something was up, and they started shouting profanity and shouting different slurs, including go home to different expletives.
Asian hate boiled over just last year when, according to an NPR poll, 1 in 4 Americans across the country feared they may be attacked because of their race.
Experiencing Asian hate where people would stop their car and shout out different slurs or throw rocks at me is very disheartening.
At the time, Liang says he didn't file a report with police fearing retaliation, but he's not cowering to that fear anymore. Instead, he's using it as motivation.
I am so grateful to be able to speak about this.
He's now part of a coalition of community leaders pushing to bring equality for Asian Americans in Columbus and in the arts industry.
We're just starting, and there's a lot to do and a lot to learn locally and nationally. You're going to go wind and here.
But he believes the first step is taking a leap and sharing your voice.
1, ta ta ta, up, pop, pop, and.
On your side in Columbus, I'm Maria Durant, ABC 6 News.
I'd like for you to just walk towards me slowly.
With every click of his camera,
As if you're on the runway, okay? Very good.
Jesse Kabunkel creates a snapshot of his own path to success.
There is something there that moves me to communicate it through pictures.
Jesse moved to Columbus from the Philippines when he was 16 years old, and instead of following in his family's footsteps,
See what we got here.
he turned his passion into a career.
My father actually is he's a doctor. So, I mean, just like all Asians, they're doctors, lawyers, and, but yeah, it seems like, everybody in my family are in the medical field but me.
He's one of hundreds of Central Ohio Asian Americans breaking the mold of a stereotypical Asian.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There is a perception that Asian Americans are more in the professional side.
Sham Rajadaksha is the president of the Asian American Commerce Group, the organization helping entrepreneurs set up and thrive in their businesses.
A lot of people don't know this. 1 in every 10 people in Columbus is an immigrant. And about 30% of all businesses are owned by, new businesses started are owned by immigrants.
He says Asian Americans now contribute to the state in a variety of different trades, fields, and work. He says they are no longer just reaching for the medical, tech, or STEM careers.
Our community is very diverse. So one thing about Asian Americans is that we represent over 50 different, ethnic groups, languages. There is really no monolithic Asian American.
That's great, Clavel.
For Jesse, his lens has been breaking boundaries. His photography spotlighted nationally, such as his photo of landmarks in the USA, and how he captured the COVID-19 world in crisis. But his favorite moments to shoot are the ones that highlight his love for the Philippines.
I want to share how beautiful it is, the place where I was born and raised. The ocean, the lakes, the volcanoes.
He believes revealing a piece of his homeland helps bring communities together.
Okay, pose, 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 pose.
On Your Side in Columbus,
Beautiful.
I'm Maria Durant. Drive through any part of town and chances are you'll see a Chinese restaurant. According to the Chinese American Restaurant Association, there are more than 45,000 Chinese restaurants in the U.S. today. Here in Columbus, this is one of the first.
This is a menu probably from the early 40s at the Far East, and those are the prices of the drinks back in the day, which is quite amazing.
Oh, I see a Manhattan is 40 cents.
Kenny Yee's dad worked for the Far East restaurant, which opened on Main Street in Bexley in the 1930s.
The Far East restaurant was started by George Yee and Walter Ming, and my dad worked for the guys.
But when the owners went their separate ways, the one restaurant led to two American dreams. Kenny's dad took over the Far East restaurant, moving it east on Main Street, where it was renamed Wings, and is still there today. And Helen Yee's grandfather, George, broke out on his own, opening this restaurant on Broad Street.
My grandfather, he immigrated here to America. He did not want to work in the railroads and things like that, but his English was very fluent.
Working in food services was one of the few options Asian immigrants had back then.
And then this is the restaurant your
This is-
grandfather opened.
Yes, yes. And it was here for many years. And then another family called the Lee family, Annie Lee, who has had this restaurant for 23 years. That's my mom and dad.
Both Kenny and Helen tell me their families moved to the U.S.
These are the seating menus from the Far East.
to create a better life for their children.
Oh, they worked hard. They worked probably 7 days a week. They worked long hours, very long hours. Yeah, most family members kept the place going.
Using food as a framework not only opened opportunities, but they say it was a way to highlight and help save their own traditions.
It's pretty amazing what they, I think, they survived. They kept going.
Chop suey normally serve with the rice.
And a way to break down barriers.
No matter what background you come from or ethnicity, food is always a great connector. It's a universal language.
On Your Side in Columbus, I'm Maria Durant, ABC 6 News. They have two different stories on how they each became a part of the General Assembly. Republican Senator Niraj Antani was born in Dayton. His parents immigrated from India.
I'm the first Indian American state senator in Ohio history.
And Democratic Senator Tina Maharat's parents are refugees from Laos.
We essentially came here to this country with nothing but the clothes on our back.
She's the first Asian American woman elected to the Ohio Senate. Two different backgrounds, two different political parties, with the same goal, urging Ohio lawmakers to give Asian Americans more of a voice in state government.
We are the only ethnicity currently without an ethnic affairs commission. We don't even have an advisory council at this point to the governor.
The two senators co-sponsored Senate Bill 87. It would create a state commission and state office for Asian American and Pacific Islander affairs. They say not only would the commission help combat Asian hate, which has seen an increase across the country since the pandemic, but would be a resource into state government.
Asian Americans, may not feel their government serves them, and so when people who look like them, when people who speak like them are telling them that they too can access government services, they too can receive, tax credits for a factory expansion, they too can, get access to, all of the benefits of state government, it makes an impact.
Everybody in the Asian American umbrella is not the same, so our needs are different religiously, culturally, even language barriers. But in order to address that from a statewide perspective, we have to have a seat at the table.
But getting that seat at the table hasn't been easy. Senator Antani believes it's been a partisan issue for years, with Ohio's Asian community caught in the middle.
The advocates in the past have been primarily Democratic, right? And, as I'm sure you understand partisan politics, anytime Democrats are for something, Republicans question whether they should be against it, and vice versa.
Now with a bipartisan bill, the two hoping politics can be set aside.
As Asian Americans are placed in the middle of it while we try to decide who whose voice is going to matter more in Ohio, Asian Americans or not.
This is Neeraj.
And they say the once silent minority can finally be heard. On your site in Columbus, I'm Maria Durant, ABC 6 News.